Hello and welcome to the Calico's Desk. My name's Eliza and I finally gotten around to filming my November Currently Inked. I've just had a lot going on and I've changed my mind a lot about what pens I wanted to use, but I'm pretty happy with my ink lineup and I'm really excited to share this month's Currently Inked. But first, this is not only a Currently Inked, it's also kind of a new pen day. This is my first gold nib fountain pen. It's the Pilot Custom 74 in black and with the soft fine medium nib. I wanted the soft fine nib, but they were out of stock. This is honestly pretty similar in terms of how it writes. So it's so beautiful. This is the first time owning a gold nib pen, and I got the soft nib because I wanted it to be distinct from my steel nib fountain pens, and it's so much fun to write with. It's such a gorgeous pen as well. I think the fact that it's just this simple black body, it's so simple, but it's still so like classic and beautiful, and I'm so happy that I own it. And I think this is a good sort of entry-level gold nib pen. I mean, the price point I think is excellent. It's really great value considering the construction and the fact that it is gold. The writing experience is just beautiful. So this is my sort of big birthday present for this year, and I'm absolutely thrilled with it. Yeah, this is not a nib to be used in reverse at all. That is, yeah, that's kind of terrible. But forwards, it writes very nicely. Now this is different paper for me. When I got my Pilot pen yesterday, the store that I bought it from gave me a pad of fountain pen friendly paper as like a gift. And I decided to try it out for this month's ink swatches because it's a really nice cream color and it's got a little bit of toothiness to it, which is generally what I prefer when it comes to my paper. I cut it down to personal ring size and punched it. So let's start with the star of the show, I think, for this month. This is Sailor Shikiori in Yozakura. This was a bit of a grail ink for me. I don't know if I've talked about this on this channel yet, but Cherry Blossom, Sakura, or Bukko here in Korea, it's one of my favorite sort of motifs, aesthetics, themes. It was the theme for our wedding even. We had cherry blossom everywhere in late December, which was quite funny. It was not real cherry blossom, of course. But cherry blossom for me just reminds me of beautiful springtimes in Gyeongju, which is where I used to live here in Korea. And this ink is just this very muted, almost smoky kind of pink lilac color. It's strange because I got a sample of this, tried it and fell in love. And the bottle is actually kind of different to the sample I was using. The bottle is much more purple, whereas the sample I had was much more pink. So I don't know if there's inconsistencies between like batches of the ink, but either way, I think it's a stunning pink purple ink. And this I, of course, put in my new pen, my Pilot Custom 74. I decided to use this ink in here because I think the soft nib was a good choice for showing off. the shading properties of the ink. And so far that seems to be the case. So this is my pilot. I don't know how well you can see that, but the shading on this is just perfect. There are spots that are kind of this deep, almost plum color, and then the lighter spots are this soft pink lilac. It's so pretty. I'm probably gonna stick to more sort of pale shading colors for this pen because I think it's perfect for really capturing the saturation in shading colors. So my next ink for this month is actually my first time using a permanent ink. This is DeAtramentis document ink in brown. I bought this ink on my trip to Chicago this year because it's kind of hard to get the DeAtramentis inks here in Korea. And I wanted to have a permanent ink in my collection. So I think this was a really nice choice for me because brown ink is kind of my safe choice when it comes to trying something unfamiliar. Whenever I get a pen that I'm not sure about, I put brown ink in it because brown I think is just a nice, safe, but still interesting color family to go for. And this ink, I kind of switched between a few pens before I settled on my Lamy Safari in cream. This is in the fine, oops. I've got the body on backwards, of course. This is in the fine nib, and this flows so nicely in this pen. I'm actually kind of shocked by how nice, that's not how you spell DeAtramentis. There we go. I'm so surprised by how well this ink flows in this pen. I just think the Lamy Safari is always a safe option because it's easy to clean. I'm not going to freak out if it gets clogged because everything's really easily replaceable. That's the fine. Because the ink is so wet in this pen, it honestly writes probably a little closer to a medium. What I like about this ink actually though is that even though it's a pigment ink, there's still a lot of variation in the way the color is laid. You still even have bits of shading here. Although I don't know if it's technically called shading with pigment inks. But it's still really dimensional, even though it's just pure pigment. So yeah, I really enjoy this ink. I have a feeling I might use this again in December because it's just a nice, basic, simple color. Let's go for this ink next. So last month I used the Kyo-no-oto ink in Kokero, and I honestly enjoyed that ink so much that I decided I wanted to try some other Kyo-no-oto inks. And this month I got the color Sakuranezumi. Like I said, I am obsessed with cherry blossom. And November is my birthday month, so I decided, well, I'm just going to use ink colors that make me happy. And this ink, which is this kind of very muted, but also very dimensional deep purple, it's just exactly what I wanted for November. When I think of November, I think of colors like this. Very moody, but still beautiful, soft colors. I have had a really good experience with the Kyo-no-oto inks. I don't know if maybe I just have a preference for drier inks, but I have not found these inks to be overly dry in my pens at all. I've mainly stuck to using these inks in Twisbys and Lamys, so maybe that's why. Maybe if I put this in a drier writer, I wouldn't like it as much, but I enjoy it as it is. And then this ink is in my Lamy I believe this is an All-Star. I thought it was an LX when I got it, but no, it is in fact an All-Star because of the engraving of the logo. Because the engraving of the logo is this sort of laser cut outline. And I got this for really, really cheap on Dangan Market. I did have to replace the nib because the nib was just completely balked when I got it. The previous owner of this pen left it to dry with black ink inside, so it needed a lot of maintenance. But it is a superb writer. The black nibs do feel very different. This isn't the like super fancy black nibs with like the special coating. These are just the regular black nibs. But it writes extremely well. I think this might be my smoothest writer, actually. I don't know what this color is, though. I think it's Graphite? Question mark? And this is also an F nib. I think the Lamy F's nibs are just the exact right line width for my writing. Honestly, for the longest time, I was so against the idea of owning an All-Star. I just thought, well, it's just a metal version of the Safari. But it does feel different. I can't explain it. It feels more weighty in my hands, and it's just a slightly more luxurious feeling. Even though these aren't overly expensive pens. Yeah, I'm very pleasantly surprised by this. And like I said, I got it for a bargain, so I really can't complain at all. Let's do the shimmer ink next. Give it a good shake. So this is a bit of an unusual shimmer ink. This is Robert Oster in Schwarz Rose. So it's a black ink with a sort of subtle pink shimmer. It's really hard to see unless you are really looking for it, honestly. I was just very curious about this ink because I've never seen a shimmer ink quite like this, and it's little dried bits of it are falling onto my page, which is fantastic. It is super black, actually. I will say this probably isn't the best option of a base for a shimmer ink. It's super black, like very saturated black. But the shimmer is definitely visible. It's hard to see when it's wet, but when it dries, the shimmer does show through. In fact, you can see it on the lid, probably a little bit. And it is a really nice pink shimmer as well. I think a lot of brands just stick with the sort of silver or gold shimmer, but using the pink with the black is quite a nice choice. And once again, I have this in a Kakuno. I put it in my pink and white Kakuno this time because I wanted to change it up a bit. And this is in a medium nib. So this is, oh, of course, just when I go to write with it, it's clogged. I think it's dried, not clogged. Hang on. Let's try it again. There we go. Just needs a little bit of priming. Yeah, not clogged, just a bit dry. I actually really enjoy writing with this pen and ink combo. Like I said, my Kakunos have been absolute troopers when it comes to shimmery inks because they're very simple pens. And I think, honestly, with shimmers, the simpler the better, in my experience. I don't like using them in my TWSBIs, for example. The more basic, the better when it comes to shimmers, frankly. And now I have 2 inks left. I've decided to ink up 6 inks this month. I'll go with my planner pen, first of all. This is Pilot Iroshizuku in Fuyu-syogun. I am a really big fan of the Pilot Iroshizuku inks. I do occasionally find the inks a little too wet in some of my pens. But as you see, I've been using this ink in one of my drier pens. So it's been a really nice pairing. I really want to try and avoid getting my dropper out, so I'm trying to scrape every little bit of ink off of the bottle. Don't try this at home, guys. Please don't do this. There we go. Okay. That's better. All right. So Fuyu-syogun is just a really soft blue-gray color. I think for me, it's kind of the perfect cool gray. It's so simple. It's so like stormy and cold, as the name suggests, but it's really, really pretty in writing. And I have this in my Jinhao 10, once again, in the EF nib. I'm really tempted to get the Jinhao 20 because it's a little bit lighter and more compact. And right now I'm using this with my Hobonichi Weeks because it's just a very convenient pen to sort of throw around. Yeah, see, I went over this swatch too many times and now it's like looking really ugly. But I promise this ink is so nice. If you see any weird edits in this video, it's because I am coughing up a storm in here. I don't know what's up with me. Okay, my final ink is Diamine Writer's Blood. This is another one of my inks that is just a nice, safe bet for me. I can always trust Diamine, to be honest. I've never had an issue with their inks. And Writer's Blood was one of my first, like, it's not really a full bottle, it's kind of a small bottle, but one of my first proper bottle purchases. For those who haven't seen Writer's Blood, it's quite a famous ink. It's a very deep burgundy color with a really gorgeous yellow sheen when it dries. I feel like this lineup just needed a little bit more of a red tone to it. And this ink has been swapped between many different pens, and I've currently settled on this pen, which is a bit of a weird pen in my collection. So this pen was from a mystery calligraphy set that we found at my grandma's house. So apparently my grandma was training to do calligraphy, which, I mean, she had the most stunning handwriting, so of course. And she had this whole set of just dip pen nibs, really dried out inks that of course I'm not using. And then she had this Sheaffer calligraphy pen. And I was so happy to discover that the new converters still work with the vintage models. And so I was able to get the pen up and working again. And I have Writer's Blood inked up in here, and this is the fine stub Italic nib. I have to still figure out how I can write with stubs. I'm not too good with them still. There we go. And I don't know what this pen is called. They don't sell it anymore. I'll just call it the vintage Sheaffer. And then I'll put Italic Fine. Did I say it was medium? I think it's fine. Yeah, Italic Fine. And I'm just going to add a few little stars and things around this page. And this is my ink lineup for the month. As you can see, I went for very sort of muted, but still kind of pinky, apart from the brown tones. I feel like this is how what I visualize when I think of November. November's actually one of my favorite months of the year. I mean, it's my birthday month, but it's also my brother's birthday month and my grandma's birthday month. It's the sort of in-between period where we transition from autumn to winter. So things are getting colder and the skies are getting a bit grayer. And people are starting to wrap up for Christmas as well, which I love that time of year, especially since moving to Korea. So yeah, I just think these colors are the right kind of moody but still happy tones that I love at this time of year. So this is my currently inked for the month of November. This video has been a long time coming. I feel like everything has just been working against me for getting this video out. The fact that I lost this paper is actually very upsetting to me. I don't know why. But I am absolutely loving this lineup for November. I love how moody and sort of desaturated the color palette is. My favorites of the month are obviously Yozakura. I bought the bottle. But I think Sakuranezumi might be my next bottle purchase. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching and for being so patient with me and this channel. I like making videos and I love interacting with the community, and the comments I've received, especially on my last video, have been so kind and so heartwarming. And whether or not I upload frequently, I hope that some of you at least stick around and see what else I can make. Thank you again for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are and whenever you may be watching this. Sending you my love. Goodbye.